Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Goots, and we're talking today about Survivor Series 1990. And with me is my co-host, Andrew Lee. We're also talking about the big news. CM Punk got fired. Things got heated between me and Andrew Lee. We have different opinions on this firing and what caused it. Andrew, how you feeling right now?
Dude, CM Punk is like ruining friendships. Let me just tell you that. He's like
I
he
mean,
almost ruined our friendship. I was threatening physical violence on you. You know, it's
you were.
what.
But
I apologize for that, by the way.
we had a disagreement. I was saying that I believe that the Young Bucks, and I believe for a good reason, I believe that the Young Bucks antagonized him and spread lies to the dirt sheets, and that's what got him all riled up. And you were like, "So who cares?" And I don't believe that. And then
Okay,
we
so
got upset.
here's my take on that. I don't necessarily think it's not true, right? I think they probably do talk to the dirt sheets, but I don't know if it's to the extent that everyone's accusing them of, right? And until there's proof of it, I don't want to believe it because
I kind of think it is. They just seem like the type of guys that'll run. They seem like a type of, if like we were all little kids, they seem like the type of kids that like the minute anybody does something wrong, they go tell the teacher.
okay, and I can respect that. This is so much more boring than our fight. But here's the thing with that. Okay,
You
I can
wanted
I
you
mean,
wanted an apology before you recorded, and then you got
no,
all your
dude, I was
anger out.
so fucking mad. Dude, you here's the thing. Actually, I I am gonna disagree with you on one thing. You said that if we start out the intros just talking calmly, or me like yelling at each other from the intro from the beginning, that it wouldn't draw. But I think that would fucking get people interested
Well, we got
because
to
we're
start
just
a little.
starting off hot.
We got to start a little professionally before we start yelling at each other. And you weren't. So we started this podcast, and I'm doing the intro, and Andrew Leach be like, "Ray Goots is mad at me because," and I'm like, "Andrew, we just get through the fucking intro." And this is the way we started. We got to at least, what Conrad Thompson at least says, "Hey, this is Conrad Thompson. You're listening to something to wrestle with," and then they call each other a fucking idiots. They don't. Bruce Pritchard's not screaming over him, "You're a fucking idiot."
I would tell you this. Even let's just say we were like, I was like, I don't want to record this podcast with you, and let's just say you were like, fine, and we fucking like ended our angrily. Probably like a couple of days later, I would have got over it. Just
Now
like,
you're over it right now, so.
yeah, I'm over it right now. I would have been like, yeah, I'm over it. Like, it
So,
would have
guys,
got
just so you know, we're recording this Monday night. We're putting this out on Friday. You're probably going to hear it on Friday or over the weekend. If anything changed with the CM Punk situation, we apologize. I kind of feel like something's going to change by Friday. He's going to go fucking ballistic on Instagram. He's going to announce that he signed with WWE. Tony Khan is going to sue him. I feel like something's going to happen before Friday. So, like, I was thinking about that even while we were yelling at each other, that our arguments may be all out of date because for all we know, fucking by Friday, Dave Meltzer come out and say, "Yeah, the Young Bucks told me everything," or fucking Dave Meltzer would come out and be like, "You know what? It was the Acclaimed who told me everything," or fucking CM Punk could come out and be like, "I have evidence that fucking Anna Jay was telling Hangman Page that I got Colt Cabana." I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I feel like something's gonna come out that's gonna like kind of negate what our fights. But
just to recap for everyone.
CM Punk was fired.
CM Punk was fired on Saturday, September 2nd, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
Saturday, right?
was Saturday
So,
night.
and he was fired from what they said is AEW contracts with an S, meaning probably multiple, he had more than one role in the company, right? Which explains probably why he wasn't fired the first time when he started the fight, right?
Yeah.
2022. So if he's fired from all contracts, I'm assuming then if there's a no compete clause, does that apply to him?
Um, Tony Khan would answer that yesterday, which leads me to think there is no complete clause.
So that means there could, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but there's a possibility he could show up on SmackDown this week.
Well, that's what I'm kind of guessing. I mean, I kind of feel like the way he was fired like that so they wouldn't have to pay. And the way they did the wording, I kind of feel like they did. So the wording was a lot of legalese. It was a lot of fired with cause. And I feel like they used these legalese, and Tony Khan did what he did to get out of paying him anything. To get out of paying him another dollar. But I think in order to get out of paying him another dollar, he can go work right away.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way that they could legally get out of paying him a single dollar more.
I think that makes sense. Do we get into the argument we had right before? Because it'll be interesting. Or no? You're over it?
Shit. We'll get into it. Next time we'll just start recording. All right. We're gonna have more fights. Listen, I have a feeling we're gonna have more fights about CM Punk before the year is over. I feel like he's gonna be doing some more.
I can't believe I had a fucking argument and a huge fight with who I consider.
I kept saying to you, I'm gonna hit record. You're like, no, fuck you. You're not even in the real world. And like, I was like, let me just hit record and you can say this. And you're like, no. So a couple times you were so mad you just wanted to end it.
Dude, I was really mad.
I know. You missed it. I love that we're giving a recap of it. But I did say, let me hit. I did say at one point you were like, you just said like, I should fucking punch you in the face. Okay, and then I said, I'm gonna hit record on this, and you just kept like, you just stared at me angrily, and I'm like, well, let me hit record now.
You should have hit record. You should have hit record.
Just hit record in the middle of you like telling me no one likes you and stuff. We did that in 2020.
Dude, we're as a friend, I am gonna recommend to you, Ray Goods, whenever you get me that angry, just hit record. I guarantee people will love it.
Now we're kind of, because then you wanted an apology before we started recording, and I gave you the apology, and now
it's all calmed down.
Now it's all like,
now I feel bad for all the stuff I said.
Now I don't. I feel bad that I don't have like this. Listen, I was like really like I had this whole argument about why the Young Bucks did this to CM Punk, and you had an argument.
Give me this argument, and I'll still shoot it down because it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, my thing is, listen. I think the thing about it is CM Punk's there. I'm gonna give the breakdown of the event. CM Punk's there. He thinks everything's fine. Suddenly, he's hearing rumblings that people think that he got Colt Cabana demoted. And he probably did it. Probably Tony Khan was like, it's probably a good idea to demote Colt Cabana because CM Punk's always around now. And it was, he kind of did it in such a wishy-washy way. The Young Bucks are out there spreading rumors, and they got to Dave Meltzer ear and they got to Hangman Page ear that he did something to Colt Cabana. When in reality, he didn't care. I honestly think CM Punk didn't care. Now, would CM Punk had not cared if Tony Khan let's say Tony Khan had Colt Cabana beat Kenny Omega for the world title on a pay-per-view? We don't know. I don't know what he would have done at that point. But Tony Khan didn't do that. He just kind of. But I think honestly, CM Punk did not care what Colt Cabana did, right? So the word gets out, and now he's got an issue with Hangman Page, and then he gets injured. And the reporters are like, there's all this drama. And we forget, in the weeks leading to All Out, there was all this drama, and all the reporters were saying stuff about CM Punk, and now he's hard to work with. And when he got to the press conference, he was like, I'm going to just confront these reporters right now. So he confronted them. And he did the whole thing responsible for EVPs. Now, ultimately, it's not the Bucks or Punk's fault. It's Tony Khan's fault for not saying to him, shut the fuck up. He did all that. They had the confrontation. The Bucks went in the room. CM Punk started swinging. We'll give him that. But at the same time, CM Punk and the Bucks, they never had a sit down, and they should have had a sit down. There should have been no reason why they didn't have a sit down. And again, that's Tony Khan's fault, but also the Young Bucks' fault. Now, even though they won't sit down with CM Punk, they're still telling Dave Meltzer. What I believe is that they're still telling Dave Meltzer, oh, CM Punk did this, and he kicked Matt Hardy in the building. He did this. So that's coming out. And they might have even told stories differently, which is why, Brian Alvarez is like, Miro and CM Punk actually had a fight, when other people are saying that, no, it was just playful teasing. But they keep putting out stories that make CM Punk look bad, but they're not willing to talk to CM Punk face-to-face. Now they have Jack Perry riled up because he's a Young Bucks guy. They put stuff in his ear. Jack Perry does what he did. CM Punk explodes again. And now he's gone. And now the Young Bucks are dancing around the fucking arena celebrating. And they did that passive-aggressive thing, and they never really were willing to have a fit. They blew up at each other. Me and you just blew up at each other, but then we sat down and we apologized, and now we're doing a podcast about Survivor Series 90. Eventually, the Bucks wouldn't do that. And that's frustrating after a year.
So argument we're having is that like, oh, CM Punk, not CM Punk, the Young Bucks or the Elite, all of them are talking to Dave Meltzer, so they started this whole thing. Here's the thing. Number one, the whole argument was I don't know that for a fact, right?
Okay,
Now here's the
that's
thing.
what I surmise.
Let's pretend that you're right, that the Bucks come out tomorrow and they go, actually, it was true. We were talking to Dave Meltzer the whole time, right? It still doesn't change the fact that CM Punk does not know how to control his temper. Do you understand that?
But he is. But see, it's frustrating when you are trying to control your temper and you are trying to bury the hatchet, and the people that you're trying to bury the hatchet with won't talk to you, but they keep talking about you when you turn around.
Well, then you take it like a man because you're the one who punched him first, and you take it. And how is Thunder Rosa handling this better than fucking CM Punk? This is ridiculous.
But what I'm, but it impedes your ability to work because they're putting it out there. You know, they're putting it out there that CM. There's a lot of fans out that don't like CM Punk. That
we're painting CM Punk like he wasn't taking shots at them because on Collision he was still taking shots at them.
He did.
The counterfeit Bucks, that fucking promo about him, and so we're not like stop. People gotta stop painting CM Punk like.
But he only did that because they put it.
He was trying to make amends the whole time.
But he was.
No, he wasn't. Counterfeit Bucks promo. Come on, that's really.
Yeah, but he did that. He did that after months of them not taking his phone call. He sat at home for months.
That's what I'm talking about. You take it like a man, and you fucking show them that you're trying to make good faith. The reason why they don't want
how long are you supposed to let someone talk shit behind your back and make you look?
I don't know. More than fucking a month. More than a month. If you punch them in the face, maybe more than a month.
Okay, but now they're still doing it after he did that.
Well, then they're fucking babies. You prove to everybody that they're childish and you're not. You're the one who's claiming that they're childish. Why are you fucking coming down to their level like a fucking baby? He's a 40-something-year-old man. Okay, why is he doing
that? There's a comic, and I think we talked about him last week. He's a good friend of ours. He has buttons, Aaron Burke. He has buttons to push that if he pushes, he's going to confront you. He's going to confront you. I wouldn't push those buttons. You wouldn't push those buttons because we like the guy. But there are certain things.
Will there be some people who will do it? And
yeah.
Okay, that's not a good example. I'll give you another example. There's a guy who punched another comic in the face because the guy was talking to his ex-wife or whatever, right?
Oh, yes. I think so. We can say his name.
Okay, and everybody who would see that would be like, oh, I understand why he did that. But who is running from the law? Because at the end of the day, who fucking broke the law?
I understand that. But also, Pat Dixon, though, has never tried to hash it out with Gino. He just ran away like a coward.
Yeah, but I mean, like, my whole point is this. And here's the thing with that. It's about controlling your temper. Now, you know I have a problem with migrants. And the cops, even the cops tell me. And I go, they throw this, they throw that. I go, I understand. This same way you say it to me. They go, I understand. They agitate you, but you cannot. They go, you cannot do what you're doing, or we're gonna have to take you down. Do you understand that? They make it very clear to me that they understand. They go.
That's what happened to CM Punk.
Yeah, and that's what happened to CM Punk. Now, if CM Punk is allowed to fucking just punch people and be like, well, he was agitated, I should be allowed to go fucking fight these migrants right now, punch them in the face, hit them with a bat, and I should be, well,
I'll tell you,
I'll
tell you who ultimately the problem behind all this, including our fight earlier, the ultimate problem in this whole situation is Tony Khan. Because Tony Khan should have made the Young Bucks sit with CM Punk. He should have, the moment, I'm sure CM Punk said something about this before All Out, last year. If Tony Khan had just gotten these people in the room and talked to them like men, or talked to them like a manager, like your manager would if you were having problems with an employee, like I would have when I was a manager, I don't think it would have came to this. But he never did, and now it's too late.
I heard a rumor that CM Punk did this on purpose because he wanted out of his contract. Like he lunged at Tony Khan and did all that because he realized he did not want, like, supposedly once the Elite re-signed, right?
Yeah,
they all re-signed.
That's what Dave Meltzer said.
Yeah, that he was just like, I don't want to fucking be here, and that's why he
No,
purposely did everything.
I think he just I think he just I just think with the ultimately what I think he needed a Vince McMahon or an Undertaker. He needed a boss. And when nobody was acting like a boss, he got fucking mad. He needed Tony to be like, this shit stops here. And when he did it, he was like, well, if we can just get away with anything, he lost his temper, you know?
That's why he attacked TK, right? Because he was
Yeah, I
like,
think he needed I think he needed I think he just needed Tony to be a boss, and he got frustrated that Tony wasn't being a boss. It's like, and then the other thing I found, so according to Jim Cornette, it's not that CM Punk is in charge of people. We thought CM Punk had power. Jack Perry wasn't listening to his bosses, to the agents and the other people, so they asked CM Punk to talk to him about the glass thing. So
can I
CM,
ask you a question of that? Why is it CM Punk's job to talk to him about?
I don't know, and also why can't? But because there's no boss there, so instead of being like, hey, I'm Tony Schiavone, I'm fucking telling you, you're not going to use a glass spot. He just, and I don't know how he got away with this. He just kept blowing everybody off until CM Punk said, you're not doing this. But I don't know why he had to get involved. And I think that's probably another reason why he's pissed. Why am I involved? If it's true he has no power and they asked him to do a favor and talk to Jungle Boy, why am I now being blamed? You guys pulled me in to talk to him, and now he fucking hates me and he wants to fight me. Why can't you just tell this guy no glass? If that's what everybody wants in the company.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe in hindsight, CM Punk. I know. Here's the thing. Probably when they asked CM Punk to do that, he was trying to be a team player and was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." But in hindsight, he probably should have just been like, "Guys, I got enough heat on me already. I can't be responsible for doing that. It's your job. You're a manager.
I
I'm
know,
tapped."
but maybe he's trying to think like, oh, let me be a team player.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was
You
probably
know
trying to be
what?
a team player, and
He's in it. If there are talking shit about him behind his back, it's a no-win situation. If he goes like, I'm not getting involved, CM Punk's a prima donna who won't help out. CM Punk gets involved, CM Punk thinks he's in charge. No-win situation in that company. He wasn't going to win in that company. No matter what he did, he wasn't going to win. So
you know, I'll be honest. Think
I think this is the best thing for him.
I think if he never did that media scrum at All Out, like
Mhm.
blow up like that, and instead blew up backstage to them and be like, let's talk this out right now, you guys and me. And why are you hating me so much? Why are you talking shit about me? And you think I got your friend Cole Cabana fired? I'm telling you right now, in mother's grave or whatever, that like I did not do that. I'm not responsible for that. And bring Tony Khan here. Tony, you tell him the truth. Who's doing this to Cole Cabana? That would have probably squashed everything. But he, I think making it public was like a big thing like that. Calling him out in public was a really big thing. And I
I
think
still think he had a gotcha that he was going to pull on Dave Meltzer, and then he just never got around to it. He just like kind of lost his train of
the
thought.
gotcha that he's still not doing for some reason.
Like maybe he legally can't do it now. Maybe he legally can't pull out
Maybe.
something because of, remember, they got lawyers involved, the Bucks.
Now, some
He
of you guys might be thinking that like I am not a CM Punk fan, which is not the case. I want this guy on TV this week if I can. Like he is so
he is.
fucking entertaining. I want him on. Like some people be like, they should not hire him back at WWE. No, I disagree. They should hire him. They
Dude,
should hire him.
the fact that the whole company hates him is more of a reason for him to be back in.
Yes. And you know what they should do? They should let him fucking. They should the first time he's on their TV,
Just go
they should
nuts.
give him a 20-minute promo session. Just like you say wherever the hell you want, just don't curse and just don't mention the other company by their name so we don't get sued or whatever. And then let him talk whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love that, dude. If CM Punk never wrestles again, but just comes out on TV just cutting promos every week, I would fucking watch that.
Dude,
Everyone would.
you know what I think would they could do it in WrestleMania and it wouldn't interfere with their plans. I'm sure they have plans in place with Roman and everybody. Cena, CM Punk, one more time.
I would watch that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would watch that.
those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe I would have CM Punk blame Cena. You're the reason when I couldn't beat you, because he lost the feud, CM Punk. Remember, he lost them on Raw. When I couldn't beat you, my life fell apart. You're the reason I went to AEW. You're the reason why AEW didn't work out. I have to destroy you, John Cena. And Cena cuts a promo like you were a failure here, you're a failure there. I don't know. I think those two, that would be a kind of like, you know how he did like Rock and Austin at WrestleMania 19?
Yeah.
And it's like just have these two legends clash one more time.
Yeah, like it's not gonna be the main event, but it's a marquee match, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could make it since it's 2 nights, you could make it one night's main event though. You could.
Yeah, you probably could.
You know what's the other match?
I would before that, I actually would love to see a CM Punk versus Seth Rollins.
But you know what's another match they could do?
CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes.
No. CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because now he can wrestle.
Yeah, I would watch that too.
Dude, you have this one chance to do it.
Do I think CM Punk is an asshole? Yeah. But you can't admit, you can't deny, whoever you're listening, you can't deny that if this guy signs with WWE, there's so many dream matchups. That's like, we just listed 4, and I don't even think that's like scratching the surface.
You could main event. Listen, there's actually 5 you could main event.
CM Punk versus Kofi Kingston. I would watch that.
Kofi Kingston?
Yeah, because
but not main. I'm saying there's 5 matches with CM Punk you could main event WrestleMania: Cody, Roman, Seth, Stone Cold, and Cena.
Yeah,
all those.
But, okay, wouldn't you also want to watch CM Punk versus Logan Paul? The promos he would be cutting on this guy, saying how like you're the reason why I left this company, like people like you, all this shit, right? And I had to come back because of what you were fucking doing to wrestling, to
even
my
CM Punk Miz.
Yeah, I would watch that too. Yeah, there's all these matches where if CM Punk came back, maybe not all of them are like WrestleMania level matches, but they're all matches that you're curious to see how he would do because of his history with some of them, you know? And so they should 100% sign this guy, you know?
But I'll tell you what this has done, this whole thing with CM Punk. It's killed my interest in watching weekly AEW because what I think we've learned, and Jim Cornette kind of said this. He said there were 2 guys in that company that really wanted to elevate it and have it compete with Vince. And he was like, and that's Cody and CM Punk. And they both got chased out. And he goes, and the message, and I don't know if you heard Jim Cornette basically said the message has been made that AEW is a place for people that have no other options or has-beens that want to ride it out like Jericho. He goes, it's not really a place. If you're a guy like Roman Reigns and Vince pisses you off, you kind of know AEW is not an option because I'm not going to be able to elevate that place using my star power. I'm going to get fucked with. If Roman Reigns went there tomorrow and tried to change the place meaningfully, I don't think I think ultimately it would be Roman Reigns in the pre-show and the 0-hour battle royal 2 years from now. You know what I mean?
See, I can't co-sign on that because while he does make a lot of good points, like I do think there's a lot of other guys there who really do want to succeed. They just don't have the star power like Cody and like you're telling me Darby Allin doesn't try his best to elevate that company.
He does, but like I think
he doesn't have the star power.
I'm talking about from a backstage atmosphere. I'm talking about restructuring the place, making it a little bit more professional.
Oh, okay, sorry. If you're talking about from a backstage role,
I think anytime someone tries to like enact a change that is going to like make the whole place better, make the product better, and not be because there's still kind of like an indie-rific smell to it, even 4 years later. I think anyone who tries to change that, they're going to get run out by the Elite and their crew. And I think the Elite are treating, and Tony Khan for that matter, Tony Khan just in the press conference goes, I'm never not going to listen to fans' criticism anymore because the pay-per-view was good. And to its credit, I left before the Kenny Omega match. The pay-per-view was pretty good, but that build, I'm not giving you $2 after that build, let alone 50. So you basically are very dismissive of everyone's complaints, everyone's concerns. John Silver told someone, why don't you make more money when they said $100 was a lot to spend on 2 pay-per-views? So they're very like, I mean, it's kind of funny. But they're very like whatever about criticisms. And I'm just like, you know what? CM Punk was their best chance to take it to Vince. As of now. Maybe down the road.
As of now, he was their best chance.
Maybe now if Roman Reigns or Becky Lynch next week tells Vince to suck their dicks and leave, maybe Stephanie show. I don't even think Stephanie could change it around. Maybe like I think Roman Reigns is the one guy at this point. If they got him, could take it to Vince, but I just don't think they're gonna.
I
I think
can't.
I think he's
Can't.
gonna be fighting by Matt Sydal on Rampage.
I can't say that CM Punk really was trying to elevate this company to the best of his abilities. Because if he really was trying his absolute best, he would have put his ego aside.
I
You
think he did
know?
put his ego aside. I mean, at the beginning, he was wrestling. There's no reason why a star of his caliber should be wrestling Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode. You shouldn't be wrestling Bobby Roode either. Bobby
Bobby Roode.
Fish. Bobby
Bobby.
Fish on fucking Rampage in front of no one. I
No,
mean, like,
I think he picked Bobby Roode himself. He
well, that
picked.
was stupid. I mean, again, like I said, my big problem with how they presented CM Punk was they turned him into everyone else. It's like when you signed Hulk Hogan in WCW, he's not on WCW Saturday Night fighting the fucking gambler. He's having big pay-per-view matches and doing promos and angles on the main show. You're not putting him in throwaway matches. And Tony Khan has a tendency, and he does this with Daniel Bryan, to put his big. I mean, even last night when MJF and Adam Cole are finding Dark Water, he has a tendency to put his big stars in throwaway matches.
Dude, I for a second thought they were gonna lose.
Did you watch that match?
No, but I thought they were gonna lose because I was like, why are they booking this?
Well, I will say the angle with Samoa Joe was pretty good.
That part was cool. I did see that. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But once again, you're getting a cool moment off of a WWE moment. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not banking off of like moments of their own. They're banking every time they have a cool moment, like CM Punk sitting down in the cross leg in the ring, Samoa Joe pushing MJF, or any other moment like where it's like a big cool moment. It's all like Jake Hager, like I don't know, facing off against like Cesaro or something like that, right? Like it's all moments played off of WWE moments. So it's not like really their thing, you know. I
No.
don't. I think it's cool, but it's only be cool because of WWE. You know.
Well, my hope, like I remember, like and I told this to you yesterday when I watched that Rampage where CM Punk came out, I was like, oh fuck, it's on. And then the next thing was the Young Bucks, and I'm like, this fucking shit's awful. And I just think everything that I find annoying about the company is never gonna go away. So I'm just not gonna watch the weekly show. If I'm home, like I didn't watch Raw tonight. Well, right now we're recording and Raw's on the air.
See,
So I yelled.
The one thing I don't like about disagree about some of the stuff is that people paint this almost as if like CM Punk had no fault. It's like, oh, he didn't do anything, but like he had like 60 to 70% of what was wrong with this whole thing is his fault.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like the way people talk, his defenders, the way they talk about it, it's like they're no different than the elite defenders because both sides paint a super biased picture. It's like, nah, dude, CM Punk was most at fault in this whole thing. You know, it's his fist, it's his words. Like he, like I can't buy any reasonable argument where they paint him like some kind of saint because it's just not. It's a bias of take. That's just how I see it. But if you want to believe that CM Punk did nothing wrong, that's fine with me.
No, he did do something wrong. He shouldn't have hit those guys. But I can see how these passive aggressive talk behind your back constantly, guys can get someone like him riled up.
Yes. And that's something that I hope he works out in the future because if he comes to WWE, you don't think something like this is going to happen?
It won't. We'll never come to that. We'll never come to that.
Yeah, you're probably right. Because they run it differently.
Vince McMahon. I don't even think Dixie Carter would have let it come to that. Dixie Carter used to do public relations before she. Dixie Carter, Vince McMahon would have put CM Punk in a chokehold the second he started going off like that. They wouldn't. He would have been tied up in the back as soon as he started. Like nobody, Bischoff, Heyman, maybe Heyman back in the 90s, but Bischoff, Dixie Carter, fucking Ole Anderson, fucking Eric Bischoff all would have got him to shut the fuck up. It would never would have got this bad.
If Charlie Dempsey, William Regal's son, if CM Punk signs with WB and Charlie Dempsey, William Regal's son, talks shit about CM Punk, he's getting fired. Yeah, he's getting fired. There's no ifs, ands, or buts getting fired.
But I'm just saying, like at a press scrum, if Roman Reigns all of a sudden breaks character and is like, "Let me tell you, he's a fucking piece of shit." That Chad Gable, this motherfucker, Triple H is gonna yank the microphone from him and be like, "All right, Roman Reigns is a little excited about the event tonight. Right now, here comes Becky Lynch," and they're gonna have like the fucking Paul Heyman is gonna drag Roman Reigns out, and he's gonna be yelled at like he's a fucking jobber, even though he's their main star. Like, why the fuck would you do that? What the fuck is wrong with you, you fucking moron?
Yes.
Like,
yes, absolutely.
You're lucky we don't fucking fire you and blackball you. You know what Vince McMahon said to Matt Hardy and Edge when they had their match? This is the only good, interesting thing Matt Hardy said on his podcast. Other than that, it's useless. He said, "Listen, I really want you guys to go at it at this match." He goes, "But I know you've had real life beef. If any of you hit each other for real or do something out of line, I'm not just going to fire you. I'm going to blackball you. I'm going to make sure these other companies won't hire you. And I have ways that I can make sure that you're not hired. I have ways. You don't know the ways I have, but I can make sure. And you will never work in wrestling ever again if you hit each other for real." You know what I'm saying?
Wait a minute. What podcast is this?
It's Matt Hardy's podcast. He told the story.
Which episode?
I forget, but it's one of them. But Matt Hardy does the voice. He goes, "I'll make sure you never work anywhere." And Matt and Edge are like, he can probably do that. He goes, "You think I can't do that? I can do it. You will never have a job ever again."
How scary is that?
Yeah.
how scary is that? Because
but they never hit each other for real.
Yeah, because you believe it. Yeah.
And now Edge is one of the biggest stars in the world, and Matt Hardy has a horrible wife. So it all worked out.
I think Matt Hardy has a pretty decent life.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is, like, that's what you have to say to these guys. I'm going to ruin your life. And the CM Punk knows that, which is why he would never do that in WWE, you know?
Yeah. You know what? If Roman Reigns had done that, they would have pulled him out and they would have turned him into the next gobbledygook. Oh, speaking of which.
All right, listen, Survivor Series 1990. Here we are. We watched it. Did you watch this today? I watched it today.
I watched half of it today.
So you watched the other half the other day?
Yeah, I watched the other half like on Saturday.
So, what did you think of the show before I get into what I thought of the show?
Dude, I liked it. And when you were giving me weeks of like or date, like the last pod when you were hyping things up, you forgot a key moment, I think, in this that I totally didn't realize was happening on the show until I saw it.
What's that?
The gobbledygooker. I totally.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I was more excited for the gobbledygooker than the fucking Undertaker.
This is like when I was a kid. This was a comfort show. I used to just watch it to feel good about life, and I feel like in that aspect, it does a really good job of just being a comfort show, but also it's a historic show because of what happens. But if like Undertaker didn't debut, like let's say like the mystery partner was Bad News Brown, I think it would still be an enjoyable show. But Undertaker showing up just adds to this show's legacies.
Icing on the cake, yes.
Yeah.
I agree with you on this. It's a comfort show. It's like so Survivor Series 1990, the WWF Thanksgiving night tradition takes place on November 22nd, 1990 in Hartford, Connecticut. Is this Thanksgiving Day?
Yes. They moved to Thanksgiving Eve, I think. They moved to Thanksgiving Eve around 94 or 93. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but this is Thanksgiving Day, and if you're thinking about what that day is and how everyone's taking off, you don't want a fucking crazy show. A nice comfort level show, like it's enjoyable. I think it's perfect, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what it felt like. 16,000 are in attendance, and Junior welcomes us to Survivor Series, and he runs down the entire card with all the team names. All these Survivor Series teams, they have team names, and he runs through it. And once again, I 100% wish they were still doing something like this to this capacity at every pay-per-view. He can't do it now because his voice sounds like an old man's voice, right? It really does. He sounds
Yeah.
terrible. Who could do this with this gruffled, like old school voice? Maybe Bruce Pritchard pretending to be Vince McMahon could do this.
He could, or you just there's a lot of announcers out there. You just get like you don't need to
Triple
have
H could do it. Triple H could do it.
Triple H could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they could get Jim Ross back, have him just do that.
Yeah, I think it's worth doing.
AEW should start shows like this. Actually, not with Excalibur, but get like, you know who they should get? Fucking that guy. Mamma mia!
Oh, Mauro Ranallo. Yeah,
He should do the rundown at the start tonight. All in. It's
yeah, be like,
the Acclaimed versus Jeff Jarrett. Yeah.
yeah, run down the entire card. Be like, Mauro, we'll give you $100. You could sit at home, just record this. You could put your own words in there, just record. But we
Or
want to
even
say,
WWE have him do it. Yeah.
yeah, dude, that would just make the PLEs and their pay per views just feel a little more special.
Yeah, no, totally. I think it would
So
be
the
awesome.
commentary team is Gorilla Monsoon and Roddy Piper, and right off the bat, they show us the egg that's going to hatch at this pay per view, and Roddy Piper starts talking about the presidents for some reason, and he goes, "Saddam is gonna pay through the nose." I was like, "Is that a cocaine reference? I don't get what the fuck that means."
He says Saddam's gonna pay double to see the show, and I'm like, okay, but he can still see the show, right?
Yeah,
So
but
that
he also,
means
yeah, yeah, he's gotta pay double to the show. Like, but yeah, how is that? He's rich. What the fuck does that care? Right? And
there's some weird stuff about the show because this is the first show being shown on the Armed Forces Network, which means the troops get it for free while they're in their tents and shit.
yes,
But
they do mention that.
I kind of feel like Vince, and he'll probably deny it, he didn't because he had to broker this deal. And I think the ulterior motive to brokering this deal was because he knew Slaughter was going to cut that promo.
Probably, yeah.
And he
And
knew he wanted to get heel heat. Yeah, he thought that'd be good heel heat. I kind of think it's kind of like when I think about like, there were some troops there that didn't make it out alive. And they're watching Sergeant Slaughter shit on them. And we'll talk about that promo later. Everything rewatching the Slaughter stuff, and maybe I'll change my mind when we watch the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. They should just went with Warrior Hogan too. I think like doing this was like, I think this was like such bad karma. Like I think it was just like, why do this? You know what I mean?
I think majority of the general opinion of is that this was a mistake. This whole thing was.
It should have been Hogan Warrior too.
I think even doesn't Bruce Pritchard admit like, yeah,
he kind of does and doesn't.
Yeah, I think even in like, yeah, I think majority of people see this whole thing was a mistake. It was an experiment that didn't go right, and it is what it is. You can't change history. It is what it is.
I'll tell you. What did go right was the Ultimate Warriors team. This was probably my favorite Survivor Series team.
This was a really cool team. Yeah, the team is called the Warriors. Mean Gene is with the Warriors, and the Warriors consist of the Legion of Doom, which were the Road Warriors, Texas Tornado, who used to be known as the modern day Warrior, and the Ultimate Warrior. Hence why they're called the Warriors. And the promos are all of them just screaming. But I go to match number 1. It is the Warriors versus the perfect team of Demolition, Axe Smash, and Crush, and Mr. Perfect with Mr. Fuji and Bobby Heenan. This was actually a really cool Survivor Series team. I will say that.
Yeah, I you know what I was thinking? Like, man, they should have just made these guys a faction.
But they really didn't have any chemistry.
No, I know, but like they just look cool together. They look. It's almost like the '80s equivalent of the Avengers.
Yeah, it was cool because like Warriors champion, right? He's like the WWF champion. You got the Legion of Doom, who are like a red hot tag team that just came in, and Texas Tornado is just become the Intercontinental champion, right? He just came in.
And back then, you really never thought you'd see the Road Warriors and Kerry Von Erich in WWE. So to see these guys all together was kind of
when you see them walking to the ring and stuff and all standing together, it looks good. But then when you watch the actual match, you could tell there's not really a lot of chemistry.
Yeah.
Um, the Warrior hits a flying tackle and a splash on Axe, who gets eliminated first. Then Hawk and Mr. Perfect, they try to. There's a point in this match where Hawk and Mr. Perfect in the ring, and they try to do a reverse Irish whip, but they lose like the hand control. But Mr. Perfect is so good that it's a clearly a botch, a mistake, and he just like turns around, and he fucking takes like a turnbuckle bump to like save that mistake. It was pretty. I don't know if you saw that, but it was really cool.
That was cool.
Legion of Doom and Demolition, they're all fighting in the ring together at once, and the ref's trying to stop it, going like, hey, one in, one out, right? Whatever. And they fucking push the ref away. Hawk even kicks the fucking referee. Like, I was like, what the fuck? So he eliminates both teams. He goes, you guys are all out of here, which is kind of like bullshit, but I get why they did it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it basically leaves Mr. Perfect in there alone with Texas Tornado and the Ultimate Warrior. The Ultimate Warrior, he starts beating on Bobby Heenan on the outside. And while he's doing that, while he's not paying attention, Mr. Perfect hits the Perfect Plex on Texas Tornado to eliminate him. So now it's 1-on-1. And there's an exposed turnbuckle, there's an exposed turnbuckle bump, and Warrior takes. Mr. Perfect hits the Perfect Plex, but Warrior kicks out of it, hits his flying tackle on a splash on Mr. Perfect for the win. So Warrior is the sole survivor. Did you like this opening match? Besides just the team?
Um, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. And I think they knew Warrior was going to do more heavy lifting later, so they kept it short.
Yeah.
But Warrior and Warrior and Mr. Perfect had a good 1-on-1. You know what? I forgot. CM Punk filmed a thing with WWE about that he would text back and forth with Ultimate Warrior, and someone shared it on Twitter. And CM Punk said, "You can say what you want, Ultimate Warrior. People like to say he wasn't a good worker. I think he was a great worker. He gave 100% every time he went in the ring. Nobody can take that from him." And Daniel Bryan also called Ultimate Warrior a good worker as well. So I think, I kind of think the Ultimate Warrior was a good worker for what he did.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he wrestled. Dude, he is. Like I know you mentioned like people have stories that his championship run was like a ultimate like a failure or something, but I mean he's really popular here.
Yeah.
And like at first I was like, why is he in the opening match? He's a WWF champion, but it makes sense because you're gonna see him at the end as well.
Yeah.
And having you're right. This is like an Avengers tag. This is an Avengers Survivor Series team, and it's a great way to start the whole pay per view because it
Yeah.
gets the crowd super into. So I think this is a fine opening match. I like this. So Sean Mooney, he's in the back with $1 million team, and he asks him about the mystery partner. And DiBiase goes like, "Yeah, you don't worry, you're gonna find out." And he basically cuts the promo on all the opponents for the match. What is that?
There's only
What kind
Warrior.
of shirt is that?
I forgot that we were
Ultimate Warrior.
twisting each other. Yeah. Ultimate Warrior shirt.
Nice. But yeah, no Ultimate Warrior in the second match. But DiBiase, he cuts a promo on Coco Beware, the Hart Foundation, Dusty Rhodes, basically all their opponents. DiBiase, this is a good promo by him. I thought this was like his promos are very good, DiBiase, but it's going to lead to our match number 2. It is the Dream Team, which is Dusty Rhodes, the Hart Foundation, and Coco Beware versus the $1 Million Team, Ted DiBiase, Rhythm and Blues, which is Greg Hammer Valentine, and not BK, Honky Tonk Man. And then they introduce the Undertaker, who comes out with Brother Love. No Paul Bear.
Wasn't there yet.
This is a weird pairing, by the way.
This was but you know what? I like the way Brother Love is walking with him because it looks like Brother Love's like, I'm done fucking around. Now I'm just gonna have a guy who's gonna beat the shit out of all of you. Like you all thought it was a joke, and now I have backup. I kind of like.
Yeah, and it kind of there's this like weird like you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of stuff like Ghost Rider or like Preacher, where you have like a evil religious guy with like a demonic character kind of
That
comedy.
was his idea. That was Bruce Pritchard's idea. He wanted a heavy that was going to be like a demon, and he'd be all about love and religion. But then meanwhile, he literally has Satan as his backup.
Oh, did he read Preacher to get this idea or something?
No,
Or
Preacher didn't exist yet, so maybe they stole
oh,
Bruce
okay.
Pritchard.
Oh. Bruce Pritchard's like, if you did something to wrestle, actually, I was reading Preacher. I
Mhm.
got this idea.
But I like that idea, and that's how
Oh,
the
dude.
Undertaker evolved. I like that idea of well, I'm gonna have a heavy, and he's gonna be basically from hell, and I'm from heaven. And I like
Did
that.
they should have someone do this now, but like not like the Sinister Minister, where he's like an evil. Like it's got to be like overly good. You know what I'm saying? Like a Brother Love. You
When the
know?
Undertaker walks out, this crowd gets they don't know how to take it.
Mm.
And I think to me that is way more successful than booing or cheering. They are just like in shock at this guy. And it fucking worked so well. He looks, I don't know, to me, he looks nervous as fuck though.
Let's talk about his appearance. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he comes out in the full Undertaker gear, and when he takes it off, he's still wearing like kind of like a shirt with the cut off sleeves and long pants and everything. And even Roddy Piper's like, is he gonna wrestle in all that gear?
Roddy Piper does a good job putting him over.
Yeah, he's like, is he gonna wear all that gear? And he, at the time when he first started, he's wearing a lot of face paint to make his eyes look
Looked like
more.
he was dead, like a zombie.
Yeah, yeah. So they would, take away most of his stuff as it goes by, but definitely is a very cool look because it's very different,
Mhm.
from everybody's kind of like a cartoon character, in WB
Yeah.
at this point. Colorful. This is the first guy who's like looks like this. Right away, right off the bat, he tombstones fucking Coco Beware to eliminate him. And you told me an interesting story about Coco Beware Undertaker. Was it from this?
It was from that Coco accused Undertaker of hurting him. But you know what? I watched that too. He doesn't do that tombstone that good. He does it much better to Dusty, but he kind of drops him weird. Coco.
Oh, so Coco was right to chew him out.
I think Coco was right. Yeah. If you we it also is the first one he's doing ever. I mean, I don't know if he did it in the back on practice. Was he's doing it on live TV? Maybe Coco didn't cooperate because he's probably pissed. He's literally Coco gets eliminated in like 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
He literally walks in the ring and Undertaker tombstones. Um, but Undertaker,
Yeah, Coco Beware says he got dropped on his head.
and then Undertaker has to put, and he yells at Undertaker. He curses him out, and Undertaker also like you could tell he like almost forgets to do the hand thing with Coco. Like he like pulls him but then he does the hand thing really quick.
Yeah.
The corpse thing, but like
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes, he nails it perfectly. He nails everything with Dusty perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you're watching it now. I'm just watching a replay of it right now. Yeah, he kind of does drop him on his head. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're right. Coco is right to have been fucking mad about getting dropped on his head.
Yeah, like Bruce Pritchard's kind of like he didn't do that, and then like he had no right to yell at the Undertaker. But then when you watch it, I'm like, oh, I can see because I also see like Coco's yelling at him because Coco's like, I'm a veteran, and I have
Yes.
to use all my credibility. I have to lose all my credibility to get you over, and you almost broke my fucking neck. Fuck you. You know what I mean?
And Coco Beware was really popular too.
Yeah.
Like he's not Paul Roma,
Yeah. And
It's
Coco
like
has to like a complete idiot to get this guy over right away. And you know what? They got him over. But I can see Coco being like, I'll get you over, but you're not going to fucking hurt me. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he has a right. So then Neidhart, he blind tags in, and then he power slams Honky Tonk Man to eliminate him. So Honky's eliminated right away as well. Then Virgil, he trips up Neidhart, and while he's distracted, he turns around. He runs right into a Ted DiBiase clothesline. So Neidhart's out. Then Taker double axe handles on Dusty and to eliminate him. And as soon as he eliminates, he just grabs him and throws him out like fucking garbage. Oh, it was fucking sad, dude. And then
Vince,
while he's out there, Brother Love does start beating on Dusty, and then Dusty gets up and he goes after Brother Love, which makes Undertaker jump down from the apron, attack Dusty, and he goes to the back and he gets counted out.
Yeah. So Vince said to him, I really need you to get this guy over strong. He's gonna beat you. And Dusty Rhodes said to him, "This is I don't know if this Dusty Rhodes said this. Does he mean this much to you? Is he gonna mean this much to you?" And he goes, "Yeah, he's gonna mean this much to me." He goes, "Well, then I'll make him look like a monster if it means this much to you." So yeah, that's why because Dusty Rhodes gets annihilated by the Undertaker. But you know what? Once again, if you're gonna get it now, looking back, if you're gonna get annihilated by one guy, that was the guy to be annihilated.
Yeah, this is one of the few times where like he actually tells the truth. Like cause like Chris Jericho was like, "Do you really gonna do a lot with Fandango situation, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one
Oh,
he actually was. Yeah, he actually was telling the truth. Dusty Rhodes isn't wearing his polka dots in this match.
no, he kind of stopped doing the polka dots. He was like, I think when Million Dollar Man stole Sapphire, he went to more of his old badass.
Mm. Anyways, Bret Hart, not Bret, yeah, Bret Hart, he small packages Greg the Hammer uh, when he was going for the figure four. So Greg Hammer gets eliminated. Then Bret and DiBiase are the only ones left, and they have a nice little match up here.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, good back and forth. Bret ultimately hits a crossbody, but Ted DiBiase reverses it for the win. As soon as the pin is counted, Bret gets up and you see him go, fuck. And he looks really disappointed. I thought this was a very good Survivor Series match right here.
This was a great match. It puts Undertaker over. The other thing was Bret Hart came right from seeing his brother dying to the arena, and he asked Vince if him and Ted DiBiase could go fucking nuts, and Vince said yes. So Bret Hart and Ted DiBiase, he did that as a tribute to his brother. Basically, we're gonna wrestle like a real match. We're not gonna do a WWE. We're gonna fucking go. And it was really great to see Ted DiBiase go like that. Like you could feel they were both like they're like, we're just gonna go for it.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna wrestle. And that's kind of cool that Vince took down the WWF shackles and let these guys just be wrestlers.
Oh, they do mention that his brother had died,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know it was like right before this. This is like that's incredible.
So in Bret Hart's book, he said like, "This is my tribute." He goes, "I want to give tribute to my family, to my brother. I just want to go. I want Ted DiBiase." And he said to Ted DiBiase, "Don't just be a wrestler. Take the character out." And they did it.
Wonder why he chose. I guess because Ted DiBiase is a good wrestler.
Well, the match was already booked. I mean, he couldn't do this with Undertaker. He couldn't.
Imagine. Imagine he was like,
Or
I know
hockey talk, man.
I know you just got this dead man character, but my brother just died. So can you just like drop it and like just like
we just like do like this catch can. No, but Ted DiBiase, I mean, he was the best. We want to look realistic. First of all, they weren't going to have Greg Valentine win the match. So he couldn't do it with Greg Valentine. Ted DiBiase was going to win the match anyway. So it's perfect, It would have been fucked if Bret Hart was fighting Sergeant Slaughter's team. What was he going to do this with Sato or something?
Yeah, I know. Oh my god. Let's talk about
he listened. So I mean, he kind of lucked out, and he wanted to like get his anger out about his brother dying, and he wanted to like put on a match, and they do that, and it's nice that sometimes. And when Piper said to Bret, "It's one of the best things I've seen on pay-per-view," and I think it was up until that point.
Yeah. Mean Gene, he's in the shower with the Vipers. This is Jake Roberts' team, and Jake has a white eye because he got sprayed in the eyes with the fucking arrogance, right?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I really was into that story.
It's a great storyline.
It was very believable to me that he got sprayed, and because I don't know, when you're a kid and you get something in your eye, you know how much it hurts, and I was like, God, it must have been terrible. And basically, they're in the shower cutting a promo on the Visionaries, which is going to go to match number 3. The Visionaries, which is Rick the Model Martel, Power and Glory, Hercules, and Paul Roma with Slick and the Warlord in the full Warlord gear, which I love that gear. That like half face mask and the fucking giant stick with a W on it. All that cheesy shit. I'm into that. Versus the Vipers, the Rockers, Jake Roberts, and Jimmy Snuka. So Marty Jannetty is in there with Warlord, and it's awesome. He is very, very good as a wrestler. He's like masterfully dodging the Warrior, who's much bigger than him. Great. Then they meet up a second time. The first time they're meeting up, Jannetty is like able to like like dodge this guy multiple. He's got like Warlord's number, but then the second time they meet up, it's not the same thing because Marty Jannetty he goes for a flying crossbody. This time Warlord catches this fucking guy and power slams him to eliminate Jannetty right away. Then you got Snuka. He hits a crossbody, and Rick, the model Martel, reverses it for the elimination. Second time we've seen that. A lot of crossbody reversal eliminations. Power and Glory then hit their Powerplex on Shawn Michaels to eliminate him. So that leaves Jake Roberts alone there with all 4 members of the Visionaries. Jake hits the Warlord with the DDT, but the Visionaries distract the referee, and Jake Roberts starts chasing off Rick Martel with the snake, and he just kind of like runs off to get counted out. So the entire Visionaries team win by countout. This was surprising. I thought I was like, oh, the whole entire team won. That was interesting.
Yeah, well, I think they wanted to stack the odds against Hogan Warrior, and also like I think they wanted to like establish Rick Martel as a threat to Jake Roberts. Like the whole team won. They never had a whole team win before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I remember they really treated it like a big deal, and it was a big deal. It was depressing to see Jake just not get anything in, but yeah, this match isn't fun because especially when the whole team's gonna win. Like it's not that fun to watch, but it serves its purpose because it's gonna lead to something bigger. So
I agree. It does serve its purpose. It really felt like in this pay-per-view, they were really trying to build up Rick Martel.
Yeah, which they should have because he's good. He's really good.
He's good looking. He's got a good look, and he's not a bad wrestler. I thought his gimmick was cool too, but I guess whatever. Yeah. Sean Mooney, he's with the Hulkamaniacs, and they dedicate this match to the men and women of the Middle East, and they cut a promo on Saddam Hussein. Very heavy on this. This is like the first time I'm seeing like a WB pay-per-view that's like so heavy on like the political events. What's going on? Like current events.
Yeah, they kind of ignored the real world up until now. And they're really playing into it.
And even now they won't be this heavy into what's happening. Yeah.
I think they learned that like you don't really you can do like I don't know, like let's say there was a bombing in this country. You can do like a 10 bell salute and a charity drive or something, but to like work them into the angles, like I'm gonna do this for all the victims of 9/12.
That's a mistake.
It's a mistake, yeah.
Yeah, because this is entertainment. It's supposed to be an escapism. We don't want that reality in there,
Mm-hmm.
Match number 4, Natural Disasters, the earthquake scene with Dino Bravo, Haku, and the Barbarian with Jimmy Hart versus the Hulkamaniacs, which is Tugboat, Jim Duggan, Bossman, and Hulk Hogan. Before the match, actually, no, I'm sorry. Never mind. Not before the match. By the way, Dino Bravo is like, I can't believe this. You're right. You're 100% right. Earthquake bought this guy like 5 more years in the company.
Yeah.
This guy is still in this company. It's ridiculous. Bossman hit the Bossman Slam on Haku for the very first quick elimination. Then Jimmy Hart, he trips up Jim Duggan. So Jim Duggan he pulls a CM Punk and he pulls out his 2x4 and loses his temper and just hits Earthquake with it, and he loses it by DQ like a fucking fool. I was like this. If Jesse Ventura was here on the commentary, he would have been fucking ripping on this guy.
He's an idiot.
He's an idiot. I was like, oh my god, he's an idiot. Hogan small packages Dino Bravo for the elimination, and then he drops 2 elbows on Earthquake. No, I'm sorry, two elbow drops from Earthquake to eliminate Bossman. And then Tugboat and Earthquake, they fight on the outside to a double count. So the only people left are Hogan and the Barbarian. And then they show you like during this matchup between Hogan and Barbarian one-on-one is no Bret Hart, Ted DiBiase. It's actually not that good. There's even a bad camera angle. You see where Barbarian tries to like power drive him, and you clearly see he's not hitting anywhere near like. And the commentators have to like try to cover. It was like, oh well, he got his knees on his shoulders. That's gonna fuck up your shoulders and shit. I was like, geez, that's terrible. Big boot and a leg drop by Hogan to eliminate Barbarian. And after this match, even though this is not the main event, Hulk Hogan decides to attack attack Bobby Heenan, and then do like a 2-hour fucking pose down.
Yeah, he poses for a while. Again, this
Yeah.
is the second Hogan match in a row where, looking back, not being a little kid, although he has a better match later, you're like, this is not, and maybe it's the opponents he has. This is not as exciting as it was. This is not like.
I'm sure when you're watching this, you're enjoying it, but when you see it now, you're just like, this is actually. We're gonna get into it, but this is a very weird performances by Hogan in this whole fucking show. Man, he really likes that Natural Disaster's name, Junior.
Yeah.
You know, a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's just I remember like thinking like Earthquake was such a good opponent for Hogan, and now we're watching these matches. I'm like, maybe he wasn't. Maybe Hogan should have.
Yeah, he didn't like.
Mr. Perfect was a better opponent.
I never feared like Hogan getting his ass kicked by Earthquake. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just like he's no King Kong Bundy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's not hitting with me. Rewatching it now, it's not hitting it with me as it was as a kid. But the it's funny, the Warrior stuff and the Perfect stuff is hitting with me more. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So Mean Gene, he is with Randy Savage, and he basically calls Ultimate Warrior a turkey and the reason why he's doing this is because he wants a shot again at that title. He wants to go back and become WBF champion, and when he does, afterwards, he's going to retire after he wins it again. Good promo by Randy Savage. Why didn't he have a match? Is he injured?
No, I think they wanted to set up the Warrior feud, but they didn't want him losing. They didn't want him losing to like the fucking. They didn't want to put. There's no way for him to look good if he was in that Mr. Perfect match. He either has to lose, or he has to pin one of the Road Warriors or Kerry Von Erich. And I don't think they wanted to do that yet. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, what do you call it? You're talking about Randy Savage,
They
right?
probably wanted to save Randy Savage, and they didn't wind up doing anything with these people. But I could see them in their mind. Let's save Randy Savage versus the Road Warriors, or Randy Savage versus Kerry Von Erich for something else, because he either has to lose or he has to like win, and they didn't want that. So it's better just not to have him there.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I can see that. You're right. Yeah, it's very odd that he wasn't actually wrestling, but that makes more sense. That does make sense. We got the Alliance in match number 5 with Nikolai Volkovs, Tito Santana, and the Bushwhackers versus the Mercenaries, Sergeant Slaughter, Zukov, and the Orient Express. As the Mercenaries are coming out, Mean Gene starts talking to Sergeant Slaughter. His whole team's got fucking American camo paint all over their face. And Gene asks about the soldiers in the Middle East, and Sergeant Slaughter proceeds to give the slowest promo I've ever heard. He draws out like every word. It's so annoying. It's like he goes like, today my mercenaries and I ate a delicious turkey dinner. It's like he does this for like every single word, and then he basically shit talks the soldiers, saying that you guys are eating Thanksgiving with sand in the fucking desert. It's stupid. It's just like the stupidest insult. It's like not. It would have been more interesting if he was just like, "I hope you guys all fucking die over there." But he goes like, "You're
Basically,
gonna
that's what he said.
Yeah, I guess, but he's like, "You're gonna eat turkey with sand in it." Like,
I remember like the black and white magazines were really critical of this promo. When I was a kid, I was like, "What's the big deal?" But now looking back, it's like he's praising this guy Saddam Hussein who has murdered like innocent people, including children.
Yeah.
He is making fun of soldiers who are going to die for this country. Some of them probably didn't want to be there; they're there through circumstances.
Yeah.
And for what? And for like what? And for me, the person I lose the most respect for is Sergeant Slaughter, because number one, you're not a real soldier. You pretend to be a soldier, and number two, like you're. And I said this before. But it's even worse now. All the goodwill you built, you're just throwing away for what? For what? Like, did you know? It's just like I never like regained like, oh my god, Sergeant Slaughter is the best. ever again. But like now, I really think like honestly, like he's a fucking piece of shit. The more I think about it,
That's
what?
that's the biggest lie in wrestling, by the way, for me.
What?
That Sergeant Slaughter was an actual like he served in the military. Like I believed that lie until just like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, me too. But like, I don't know what makes it like makes. I think like if he did serve, I don't know. It's just like the whole thing. This whole
If
thing
he
is like
really served, I don't think he would have ever agreed to this.
yeah. But that's what makes it even like more pathetic. Like you're lying about serving, and then you're like shitting on these people who actually are risking their lives, and you're praising. I just would have been like, and I don't think anyone would have blamed. I would have been like, you know what, you can fire me, and I because he owns the rights to Sergeant Slaughter. WWE doesn't, unless he sold it
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
back then. He did, and I would have went to WCW and I would have cut a promo. Vince McMahon wanted me to shit on the troops and praise Saddam Hussein, and I will never do that. And I bet you WCW probably could have made him like the fucking top babyface in that company.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why did you do? Like, I want to know. Like, you did this because you're a piece of shit. I don't want to hear the Vince McMahon baby or you gotta do my. No, you're a piece of shit. That's why you agreed to this. That's why you agreed to this. That's why you agreed.
Yeah.
To this.
I think like yeah, when he fucking never has any fucking connection to the truth because he never served, he's just like, sure, I'll say it, like because it doesn't mean anything to him. He doesn't understand
Yeah.
the sacrifice these guys really do. It's terrible. Yeah, that guy, Sergeant Slaughter, man, I can't believe this fucking guy.
Do you
Like,
think? I don't think I'm wrong. I think if he showed up at Starrcade 90 and said, I quit WWE because they want me to praise Saddam Hussein and I love this country, I think the arena would have went nuts for him.
yeah,
I
I
think
think
everyone,
so. Yeah,
he would have been,
absolutely.
and now I'm going to take out Ric Flair. Like, I think people would have went nuts for this fucking guy. So, like, I don't know.
You're right.
And
I think
you know
they
what?
would have.
I hope, I hope Vince McMahon is still giving this guy like like a fucking 100 grand a year or something to this point. I hope it's something like that because otherwise he's just a fucking buffoon.
Yeah. By the way, we're not the only ones who don't like this fucking promo. You can hear people booing or sounding boring during this promo.
Yeah, because it's
And
like
it's stupid. Yeah, it's not
it's
good.
like the Undertaker is fun. He's everything else is like kind of fun. The model, like you don't like the model, but like this guy is just like Sarge. Oh,
After this
Saddam,
promo,
shut the fuck up.
after this
And then they
promo,
have the worst match on the show.
yeah, yeah, yo, this is so. This match is where if I was Junior, I would have been like, "Oh, there's no way I'm putting this guy in the main event of WrestleMania because there's no heat in this match at all.
No,
Nobody cares about this match. They don't, they don't hate Sergeant Slaughter, but they don't like
they
love
don't
him either.
care.
Like, there's no reaction almost the entire paper. I mean, it's the entire match. By the way, right after that boring promo, Piper goes, Sergeant Slaughter got kicked out of the service because he said Shazam too much. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, I don't know what that means.
It's another
Dude.
joke.
All right. So this match is very quick. Um, First off, Tito Santana hits the flying forearm on Boris Zukov to eliminate him right away. Then the Bushwhackers hit a battering ram on Sato to eliminate him. Then Tito Santana hits the flying forearm again, but this time on Pat Tanaka to eliminate him. And it's automatically down to 4-1 on Sergeant Slaughter. Unlike the previous 4-1, though, this is not going to stay like that. There's an elbow drop. Sergeant Slaughter hits an elbow drop on Nikolai Volkov to eliminate him. Then he hits a gut buster to eliminate Luke. And then he hits a short arm clothesline to take out Butch. He took out 3 guys with just like random moves. It was like, yeah, you can see them trying to build up Slaughter though, because it's like he's just beating them with just random ass moves.
Yeah.
So it's down to Tito and Sergeant Slaughter. They're going back and forth, toe to toe, and then there's a referee bump. And General Abnon, he comes in and he attacks Tito Santana with the flag. And Sergeant Slaughter finally gets the Cobra clutch on, or no, the camel clutch. He puts the camel clutch on him. But the referee saw the Adnan attack and he disqualifies Sergeant Slaughter and he gives the win to Tito Santana, which was the only reaction we get in this entire match. The
Yeah.
fans popped huge.
Because
And
I
I
think
think not because of Sergeant Slaughter, but because they love Tito Santana.
They love Tito, and I think they're like, oh, thank God we were free of this fucking Saddam Hussein bullshit. And
yeah,
finally Tito won one. Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't have to see this fucking guy later on. That's what they're happy about. Gorilla says Sergeant Slaughter should hide his head in shame, and Piper goes, "Isn't that how the Iraqi women walk around?" And I was like, "What the fuck? Walk around, hide his head in shame." Yeah, like the Iraqi women. Jeez, different times though. I will give it, like 40 years ago. What are you gonna do? Sean Mooney, he's with the Visionaries and Ted DiBiase, and Rick Martel and Ted DiBiase both cut really good villainous promos, in my opinion. You know, Rick Martel, he could go with them. He could go with anybody verbally. I thought, he wasn't bad. His promo was good too. Why didn't this guy ever get like the ball or something?
Which guy?
Rick Martel.
Oh, Rick Martel. Oh, I don't know. I don't think ultimately like his heart was really, really into wrestling. He would take breaks. He doesn't really talk about it anymore. I don't know. I mean, also he got injured. Also, he did make a big comeback in '98, and then got injured, and then immediately went to real estate. He immediately said that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think
maybe
he ever was like 1,000% in.
That's probably right. He was probably like, this guy reminds me of Lex Luger. Don't ever give him the ball. I was like, all right. Mean Gene, he is with the Egg. This is the fun part of the show. And this is so stupid because you can already see like the pre-cuts where the crack's going to be. It's so bad. And out comes the gobbledygooker. And you can, as soon as this guy comes out, you can hear the fans fucking boo. Like, it's fucking awesome. And Gene tries to interview him, and the gobbledygooker just gobbles. So Gene goes, your name's the gobbledygooker, right? And then they go to the ring and they start dancing. And I was like, what was the whole point of this whole thing? And this is what I read. The concept of the gobbledygooker was that it would serve as the turkey mascot for WWE, kind of like the San Diego Chicken, which Roddy Piper does mention during the segment. And he also goes, I think this guy should be the official mascot of the Survivor Series. Are you familiar with the San Diego Chicken?
Yeah.
Some credit the San Diego Chicken as being like the first real like popular sports team mascot, like costume mascot. And he supposedly like sold tickets, people paid money to go see this mascot. That's why every other sports team started getting mascots, because of the San Diego Chicken. And this is, you can 100% see how they thought this was going to be like that, because the San Diego Chicken did come out of an egg in 1979. Like, he came out of an egg himself. You could find this on YouTube. It's a sold out audience of like 47,000 people in 1979. And they go nuts for this guy coming out of this fucking egg. And it is not what happens here. This is fucking terrible, right? It's complete opposite. When you were telling me, I wanted to know, I didn't watch this when I was a kid. So what didn't you watch as a kid? What were you thinking?
I liked him. I thought he'd be like a comedy wrestler or something like.
Oh, so you thought this guy was going to be a wrestler?
Yeah, I wanted to see more. I wanted him to keep going. I didn't mind it. If they had him if they had him come out every year and like just dance to start the Survivor Series, I would have been okay with it.
Okay.
Well, if you think about it, this would have been cool. He comes out every year and dances, and like Vince like, yeah, gobbledygook. And then when the Attitude Era hits, you have Kane destroy him. That would have been interesting,
Yeah, actually, that's true. That would have been cool. And I can totally. This was always, I think, designed for the kids. And if you're a kid, yeah, I can see how you would like it.
I didn't mind it. I mean, then when I realized they were never going to do anything with it, now looking back, I'm like, this was a waste of time. But as a kid, I didn't mind it.
Yeah. Now that you're watching it now as an adult, what do you think?
Waste of time. It's a waste of
time. Sean Mooney, he is with Tito Santana, Hogan, and Warrior. This is where things start getting weird for me. Okay. All right. And right away, Sean Mooney asked Hulk Hogan about his team. So this is actually, let's talk about this because this is actually something I wish they would bring back. This Survivor Series is weird in that
Ultimate
actually I don't
Survivor
know if
match.
yeah, so it's like whoever survives out of the previous matches, they all get put together in a last matchup, right? They don't do that anymore. And is this how do you feel about this concept, right?
I like it. I wish they did this every year.
Yeah, I
They
think
should bring
so.
this back
Yeah, because they've
because
actually put something on. It feels like there's really more on the stakes,
you
you
know how
know?
they do Raw versus SmackDown.
Yes.
They should have an ultimate. They should have all the Raw versus SmackDown matches and do an Ultimate Survivor match with who's ever left.
Yeah, on the Team SmackDown and Team Raw. Yes, I
Mhm.
agree.
And then have a stake. Yeah, I like it. I think it adds to the stakes. It adds to the strategy because you're like, I have to wrestle a whole other match at the end. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I kind of like. And then you might run into a case where like you have one baby face versus like 10 bad guys, and then you can like there's a lot of fun things you can do with this, and I wish they did it again. And I actually thought this was like my favorite match on the show, this Ultimate Survivors match.
Yeah, because it feels like
It's just like a feel good match.
it makes sense too. Like there's actually a point to all these matches why they had
Yeah.
it, you know.
Hmm.
And I was trying to think like how do you determine good guys and bad guys now? Like why would they be teaming? Because back then it was more simple. But you're right. If they just did Raw and SmackDown, that would make a lot of sense. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. Good point. So anyway, this promo is very weird. Um, first, Sean Mooney asked Hogan about what he feels about his team, but he's not the captain of this team. It's just like, all the survivors. And then each one is cutting a promo. And during this whole session, Warrior keeps standing right in front of Tito Santana, like an asshole, right? And he just will
Like
not
it is. So
stop standing in front of Tito. And you could see Tino, he's trying to get as much camera time as possible. You can see him trying to like squeeze his face in when he thinks the camera angle is changing. It's so fucking bad. I'm like, God damn, guys, why are you guys making Tito look like a fucking bitch in this? Like, this made me like this pay per view was like where I understand where people are saying bad shit about Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan because you see it here.
they don't. Yeah, they don't want to share the spotlight, but Vince is making.
Yeah, they don't want to share a spotlight with anybody. It's bad enough that they're together, but now like there's like no room for Tito in this at all. Match number 6, their final match. There's the Visionaries, all four of them, and Ted DiBiase versus Tito Santana, Hulk Hogan, and Warrior. Tito Santana hits the flying forearm right away on the Warlord to eliminate him, but before he can fucking do that, Hogan has to get his shot at a Warlord to
Mm-hmm.
show that Tito did not take the Warlord out on his own.
Mm-hmm.
But Warlord gets eliminated first. But then Ted DiBiase, he slings Tito on the ropes to eliminate Tito Santana. So it's Hogan and Ultimate Warrior versus like four
Right.
guys. Yeah. Hogan gets hit with a powerplex by Power Glare. He fucking no sells it. I've been watching them fucking beat people with the powerplex and then just put a foot on their chest to cover them
Hogan
for the
just
pin.
gets right up.
Hogan gets right the fuck up. And he just fucking clotheslines Paul Roman to eliminate Paul Roman. Martel gets hit in the face by Hogan, and then he goes out the ring and he just goes, I quit. And he just takes a count out, which he never got pinned. So I was like, yeah, they're really trying to make Martel
Yeah.
out to be something,
Well, because I think the whole thing was you're waiting for Jake to pin him. So if Hogan just, I will say this, they did protect Jake because if Hogan just fucking like hits him once and he pins him, then it's like, well, Jake must be a fucking idiot because he lost his eyesight fighting this guy. You know what I mean?
That's so funny you say that because throughout this entire pay per view, they're hyping up Saturday night's main event, just coming up like the following couple of days. And it's the main event is Ted DiBiase going for Ultimate Warrior. They're building that up, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, Hogan hits a leg drop on Ted DiBiase and just gets him, just eliminates him like that. So where's the protection there?
Well, I think that they saw more value. I think at that point they saw more value in Martel than DiBiase.
Yeah, that's weird because, like, yeah, I agree. Usually they try to like protect people when they're hyping something up, and they're like, this thing's happening in a couple of days, and he just like Ultimate Warrior doesn't even get to like fucking touch this guy. It's like
Well,
Hogan just
I think
fucking
we all kind of as a kid, I accepted that if you're announcing a Ted DiBiase versus Warrior match, Ultimate Warrior is winning. I don't have any like, oh, maybe it could go either way.
Ah, I see. I
But
get.
we still hadn't seen Jake pin the model, and I think that's you have to say that because that's the money, and it was WrestleMania. That WrestleMania match, they when they get to WrestleMania, that's one of the matches the crowd goes craziest for. It's not even that good.
Yeah, it's so. Remember, in this matchup, Ultimate Warrior is the champion. Hogan's not the champion, right? But I get that Hogan and Warrior are they're the two top like most popular guys, right? So if you're in there, two of the most popular guys against four guys, the way I was thinking was, oh, they're probably gonna have like they gave Tito one pin to get the fifth guy out, but these two are the real stars. So we're gonna eliminate two guys each because there's four of them. Nope, that's not how it happens. Hogan eliminates three guys, and then the last one is Hercules. He's left, and Warrior is finally allowed to take somebody out. He takes out Hercules with the splash, and even when Warrior is pinning fucking Hercules, like he can't get the spotlight by himself because Hogan has to come into the ring and do a fucking count with the fucking referee, like he has to be a part of this. This really just seems like Hogan trying to like steal back the spotlight. Did you
Yeah,
not get that sense in this?
I did. I did. I noticed it more now than when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was like, they're a team. They finally made peace with one another. Mm-hmm. It
He was
did.
totally trying to outshine it. Yeah.
I think
And
I think Hogan knew like I think Hogan was like, I'll give Warrior that day, but then I'm doing everything I can to take back the spotlight.
yeah, he's this is the scumbag thing of Hogan everyone talks about. Like he cannot allow this guy to surpass him. And see, like when Hogan would win or get the final pin or whatever, he gets to do a fucking pose down for like 10 minutes or whatever the fuck he wants to do, right?
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior got the final pin and he wants to celebrate in the ring with the fans and stuff. And Hogan's already like, all right, let's go, let's leave right now. Like it was like didn't even allow this guy to celebrate the way he wanted to. Like he like already sat on the ropes to open up the ropes, going like, "Hey, come on, Warrior, let's go." Because now if Warrior says no to him, he's gonna look like a total dickbag. So he has to fucking go with Hogan and say, "All right, we'll leave." Like it's a total dick move that Hogan did.
Yeah.
This is Hogan at his finest, and when it comes to dicker, you know.
Very, very a politician.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I still like the match. And I remember the Black and White magazines were like, is this a setup for Hogan Warrior 2? Like Hogan was, they're like they worked together, but there was a little bit of tension. And looking back, I do think that was the move. Hogan Warrior 2. That was really the move. And everything we're watching from Royal Rumble indicates to 1990s indicates to me that was the move. And when I was a kid, I was happy Slaughter won because I was kind of annoyed Warrior beat Hogan. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But we all went into that Royal Rumble, and we'll talk about that in 2 weeks. Well, I watched that live, by the way, with a bunch of kids in my class.
Like in
And
somebody's house.
yeah, and we all thought it's gonna be like an easy title defense for Warrior, and then it'll be Hogan Warrior. And when Warrior lost, that was probably the most shocking title switch ever to this day. To this day. It would be like Roman. It would be like Roman losing to no, that'd be I'm trying to think. Roman losing to Carmelo Hayes. Like that's what it'd be like.
I'm trying to think of like what title switch was also like crazy. I mean, the closest one I could think of, but it didn't actually happen, was like Chris Jericho, Triple H on a Raw.
No, yeah, this was crazier because I kind of thought Jericho. I never thought Slaughter would get the belt ever, ever. And when he did, it was like, what? Well, we'll talk about that in 2 weeks. But the move was Hogan Warrior, and the more I watch these shows, the more I'm like, that would have been an all time. You know,
Man, why do you have such a hard on for this fucking like shitting on the troops thing?
I think Vince ultimately likes to fuck with people when they're in pain. and I think like the country was like we're having really that was like the first war in my lifetime. We had it, and I think he wanted us to feel uncomfortable.
And I could totally see that, dude.
Like
I could
he
totally see
got the
that.
troops that feed, and then he shits on them, and then he
Yeah.
shits while, but he has Roddy Piper being like, "Oh, it's free on the network. Enjoy it. We love you, troops. Whatever." And then Slaughter's like, "There's sand, and you can't see your families." And Saddam's the best, and they're sitting there like they can't like it's 1990. There's no way to contact her. They're sitting in the cold desert watching Sergeant Slaughter just shit on them, and I think Vince gets a kick out of stuff like that.
I,
He
the
just
man is the man is so evil.
yeah. I'm like that's the it's because it would be like it would be different if this was the first show that the military got to watch. It was the first pay where you could watch free if you were serving, and they shit on the troops the entire
This
fucking
was like the first war America's kind of in after
yeah.
like Vietnam. So yeah, it
And
was a
it's the
big
first
deal.
war where he's a promoter.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think he wanted to shit. I think he wanted to shit on the troops,
yeah,
and then he realized that's not good business, so he's never did it again. So
yeah. It was a mistake, but
all in
to his
all,
credit, he ain't gonna make it again. Yeah.
I would say, oh yeah, not now that he's corporate. I would say if you just want a fun old school wrestling show that's historic, you want to see history being made, but also like just fucking relax for 2.5 hours. This is the show.
This is a good show to watch for, I think, multiple reasons. Yeah. Ultimate Warrior, obviously, is one of them. Some of the matchups, like you see, like Ted DiBiase versus Bret Hart, that little one-on-one
Yeah, that you're really
encounter.
never going to see again. Yeah,
The Warriors Survivor Series team, which is still cool visually, right? The Gobbledygooker and Hulk Hogan just politicking,
politicking.
just like an example of him politicking. If you ever want to see like a clear example, this is like clear as day. Like it's all perfect. This is like it's 2.5 hours. It's go out of your way to watch this. I would say go out of your way.
Yeah, so far it's the best Survivor Series out of the 4 we watched.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Mhm.
All right,
Better than some
guys.
of the WrestleManias.
Yeah, so the next 4 weeks, this is the schedule. Next week, Starrcade 90 with Sting versus the Black Scorpion. Then we have in 2 weeks the Royal Rumble 91, where it's Slaughter versus Warrior. Then it's Wrestle War 91, where it's the Four Horsemen versus the Dudes with Attitudes. And then in 4 weeks, in a month's time, we have WrestleMania 7, Sergeant Slaughter versus Hulk Hogan. What are you looking forward to?
Sergeant Slaughter Hulk Hogan because I actually never seen that. I think so. I don't know if it's a good match or
Yeah,
not.
it's
I just know it didn't draw, but I want to know what the actual match is like.
you're not in for a treat, guys. This is the podcast. Please subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube. Follow me, Ray Goots Comedy on TikTok and Ray Goots on Instagram and Twitter. And Andrew Lee, should they follow you anywhere, or you just hate everybody?
I know. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know what you said, but
I said, should they follow you? Do you have anything you want to plug? Or
no, they shouldn't follow me. Don't follow me, guys. Follow Ray. Follow this podcast. That's all you got to do. Follow this podcast. And if you want to say anything mean to me, like because of what we're saying, fucking put it in the chats or put it in the comments, and we're fine.
put it in the comment section
Yeah, put it in the comment section.
so everyone can see that you. Hold on 1 second,
Dude. Starrcade 90 has a